We're told that being outside in nature is good for us, and we can probably feel that that's the case too. But what's the actual science behind it? This question has been on my mind for a long time now, so I set off on an adventure to explore the science. The adventure was a 4-day hike, exploring a trail that passes right through my village. Ideally, I would have done it in the summer, but figured that during the winter is when my body needs the daylight the most. I wrapped up warm and hiked the Danelaw Way, a 60-mile route from Lincoln to Stamford. I'm outside Lincoln Castle, about to start my 60-mile hike. And for each of my 4 days, I'll give you a benefit of why being in nature is good for the human body. The first reason nature makes us feel good is the biophilia theory. Since our ancestors come from natural environments, our survival is tied to nature, with food, water and resources to keep us protected from the environment. It's in our genes to feel connected to nature. Our survival depended on it. Our survival still depends on it, although it can feel as though we don't need it quite as much as we used to. At the start, as my body warms up, I think to myself, how on earth am I going to walk this far? And then suddenly, I just couldn't think of anywhere else I'd rather be. But this biophilia theory, it can't actually be scientifically proven because our ancestors aren't around to take part in experiments. But the way I think of it is that we have this deep-rooted feeling to be surrounded by nature, like the feeling we get when looking at flames of an open fire. There's something about the sight and the sound that does something to us. We can't really explain it and we can't prove it, but we feel it. It's in our genetics, and being in nature is the same. Finally, my brain has switched off. So nice to be here. I've got this lovely little room. My feet and legs are achy, but my brain feels great. It feels so good to be walking in the morning light. First of all, it's a huge achievement that I'm up with the sun. And secondly, it's as though the sun rays, they're like medicine, helping release all those feel-good hormones. I've recently learnt that regular exposure to daylight, especially in the morning, helps strengthen our circadian rhythm, which can then improve sleep. 10 minutes of morning sunlight each day can make us fall asleep faster and sleep for longer. Sometimes I wonder if I'm going to get bored doing something like this, being all this time by myself, but I don't. And improved sleep leads to improved mood, productivity, performance and physical and mental health, all from just 10 minutes of morning light a day. Combine the daylight going in our eyes with the movement of walking, running, cycling or any other form of natural transport with the benefits I mentioned in this video, life could quite literally be transformed. Hello you. I just popped out of the path into a little village called Osby. It's brought me right to where I'm staying today. As some of you may know, I've been wearing Vivo barefoot shoes for many years, which is why I'm pleased to have them support this video. Vivo Barefoot are primarily a footwear company, however they also care about total body health and the planet, which is why I thought it was a perfect fit to share their message in this video. They make barefoot style shoes, meaning the sole is flat, the heel and toe is at the same level, and the toe area is wide so the toes can spread out just like being barefoot. I've been wearing Vivo barefoot shoes for 4 years and experienced many benefits, such as improved balance, stronger feet and increased ankle mobility. And if you'd like to buy a pair of Vivo barefoot shoes, click the link in my description and use the code LauraTry15 to get 15% off. And the great thing is they give a 100-day trial with all of their shoes. So if you wear them and decide they're not for you, then return them and you'll get your money back. Now back to day 3 and the third benefit of nature. I've got such a spring in my step today. My body has finally realised what we're doing, and all it needs to do is walk. This one may be similar to the biophilia theory, and it's the psychoevolutionary stress reduction theory, or SRT for short. It's based on the idea that our ancestors lived in environments full of resources, whether that be near the ocean or in a jungle or woodland. And they may not have had loads of resources, but there was food and water available, albeit hard to get sometimes, and materials to build fire and shelter. And from that comes survival. And with all of those resources around, it gave a certain level of safety, and with that came a stress reduction. Now, in the modern day, we may feel as though we've made advances, but we're still essentially wired the same as our ancestors, and we still get that SRT effect, that stress reduction effect when we're in nature. And being in that environment has been shown to lower blood pressure, reduce cortisol, boost the immune system, and improve our mood. Again, it's hard to prove the actual science behind this because it's on a cellular level, it's in our DNA, but how can being in this not be good for us? I really needed this. I can feel my brain coming up to full capacity again. I took a wrong turn, nothing like navigating in the dark to sharpen the senses. Am I still getting the benefits of nature when it's almost pitch black? Finally made it. Things didn't exactly go to plan, but then again, that's what an adventure is all about. Being in sunlight produces vitamin D in the body, and vitamin D is essential for healthy bones, teeth and muscles. Despite some vitamin D coming from our food, such as oily fish, eggs and cheese, most of what we need comes from making it in our skin through daylight exposure. This part of my walk goes through the village that I live in. I'm so close to home, but I've never explored these parts before. Vitamin D has also been linked to improving the immune system, preventing upper respiratory infections, and based on the fact that there are vitamin D receptors in the heart and pancreatic cells, vitamin D deficiencies can also be associated with heart disease and type 1 and 2 diabetes. And please remember, I'm not a doctor. I get my information from reputable authors, so if you're unsure about anything what I say in this video, then please speak to your doctor first. I take this trail around 3 or 4 times a week, and now I'm doing it as part of this 60-mile adventure. I'm seeing it with new eyes. My 60-mile adventure may be over, but I do have one more benefit for you, and that's the Attention Restorative Theory, or ART. This works on the premise that our modern world is busy and noisy. Our attention gets worn down, leaving us feeling pretty rubbish. Being outside, away from screens and digital, and I know it sounds simple, but it gives us a chance to quieten the noise and relax. The average person spends 93% of their time indoors, and over the week that equates to just 12 hours outside. And I expect that's why in the 1980s the Japanese developed forest bathing gardens where people could go and immerse themselves in natural environments. To some it may sound hocus pocus, but I know that being outside, even for just a short amount of time, can break the negative feelings of being inside. Sometimes we don't need to know the science, we just need to know what makes us feel good. What I've learnt recently is that although it's not overly glamorous or exciting to be on our local trails, but it is better to be out here doing something, getting all these benefits rather than sitting at home looking at exotic dream locations on the internet. I loved this adventure and exploring my local area, and I also really enjoyed learning about the theories and the science of nature. And to get all of these benefits, there's no need to go on a 60-mile hike. 10 to 30 minutes walking around the block, or even just sitting in the garden with your morning drink is enough. See that time as medicine, a kind of supplement. It's something we need for our body and mind to perform well. And as those daily doses of daylight build up on top of each other, wonderful things can happen. And the best thing of all is that we can get it for free. I really hope you enjoyed this video because I really enjoyed making it, and perhaps you learnt something new. And if you've got anything to add or would like to share your experience of being in nature, then please let me know in the comments box. For resources linked to this video, then I recommend the book Chasing the Sun by Linda Geddes. It's a fascinating book. I've also linked a brilliant podcast by Andrew Huberman. It's 2 hours long, so I recommend taking a long walk, absorbing the information and absorbing some daylight too. Thanks for watching, stay healthy and cheerful, and hopefully I'll see you at the next one.